the location of the ATM was very close to that ingress driveway. So his recommendation was to provide a little more concrete behind the ATM to allow for vehicles behind the ATM, 5 feet of concrete behind the ATM, as well as 3 bollards to allow for more space for vehicles entering the site and more pedestrian safety for people accessing the ATM. One of the main changes that the bank is proposing that's not included as part of this set that we talked to Mark about, and the best way to kind of represent it is the bank would like to rotate the ATM to have the face of the ATM facing the parking area. None of the lighting would change. There would be no major impacts to the parking. The parking would remain the same, and there'd be slightly more concrete work done into the ingress driveway. However, the ATM would face the parking area, which the bank feels would provide a more secure and safe area to operate the ATM, rather than having the back of the client facing the roadway. This way, the back would be facing the parking area.
Mr. Chairman, Matt. Yeah. So Matt, you're just saying you're taking the building
180-degree rotation, and it's going to face the parking area. Exactly.
The footprint's the same, the location's the same, everything's the same. It's just the orientation.
Exactly. The landscaping is going to be the same. There will be no negative environmental impacts. We're actually providing more landscaping on site, so we're reducing the impervious coverage and providing a small landscaped area, which will allow for essentially less runoff into the right-of-way.
Do you think putting that like that would present more of a risk as a pedestrian coming out of there? With somebody coming through that drive-through?
So we are providing.
Somebody steps off that curb. I mean, the way people fly into that entry. Mm-hmm. I'm just throwing that out there. Have you taken that into consideration?
Yeah, we provided 3 bollards at the corner, at the face of that the curb, to provide, if a vehicle does come through there, it will prevent them from hitting the ATM or a pedestrian utilizing the ATM.
Well, I'm more worried about the pedestrian. I wouldn't worry about the ATM. I'm just saying, is your bollards protecting the ATM? They step off that curb.
Yeah, we provided 5 feet between the face of the ATM and the curb, so it's essentially enough room. The 5 feet is more for AD accessibility.
Yeah.
However, it does provide that sufficient room so that if someone is turning around and about to walk into that area, they do have an adequate amount of time to see a vehicle entering the ingress driveway.
Okay.
We can provide more and a little bit more concrete work if needed. However, we did see that this was the best suited layout for it.
So that ramp will stay in the same spot, that access ramp?
Yes, I think the ramp did stay exactly where it was originally proposed. We did shift the curb line up, I think, 1.5 feet just to provide the AD accessible path. There has to be 5 feet for turning landings. So at the top of the ramp, there's a 5-foot landing, and with that top flare, we had to provide 5 feet between that flare and the corner of the ATM to provide that 5 feet of space.
Even if you turn it around, you'll still have access to it?
Yep. Yeah, it'll still be ADA compliant. Everything will be graded correctly to ADA standards, and it'll be functional.
And you're adding 2 new poles in the center of the
Yeah,
lot?
so those will be on 3-foot concrete foundations, which will protect them from vehicles utilizing the parking area. Yeah, the ATM will be provided maintenance 1 to 2 times per week via an armed vehicle, and it'll come to the ATM, do the transaction, and it's usually operable by two employees. One will usually stay in the vehicle while the other does the transaction to make sure the ATM is in working function, all the lights are working, and that the money is safely transported back to the vehicle.
Do you have an armored car truck that comes through to service that ATM?
Yeah, it's usually an armored car that would service it. So it could utilize one of the parking spaces closest to the ATM. It could use to.
Yeah, where would you park? You couldn't park in handicaps.
No, yeah. We provided spaces for like 15-minute customer parking.
Okay.
2 spaces next to the ADA space, so that it could park in those spaces. It could park in the regular
So
space
he's not
next to
going
it.
to park right in front of that ATM?
No. He wouldn't block that ingress driveway. And yeah, so the ATM proposes 2 wall-mounted signs, one on the front, one on the back of the building. Yeah, of the bank. It's the Bank of America logo on the ATM. We completed a site recently in Oxford, Massachusetts, and we took some photos of it. If you guys like to see what the proposed ATM would look like. So.
Al, are you going to mark this as an exhibit?
And I have a larger.
Mark, it's my understanding that this has to go to zoning after
That's
we
correct.
approve
Yes.
it, so.
So we'll be seeking
this
a
is a-
special use permit as well as a parking variance for a reduction of 3 spaces from the existing.
Mr. Chairman, I'm marking this Exhibit 4, ATM exhibit.
Okay,
So we've already started the zoning board application. We got the application signed by the zoning board, and we just have to, once we were done with this
Once-
hearing, we're
yeah.
gonna plan on.
we send our recommendations to the
Exactly,
zoning
we
board,
would-
and then you go to the zoning board.
Of course.
Do you, so Mark, will we have to come back here afterwards?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought. Sorry about that.
It's not a problem.
So am I.
All right. Yeah, the only question I have is why would you do this and not put a drive-through alongside a walk-through? That's
So the
it's not a
ATM
real question, it's just, why?
We can talk about that out. Well, so we proposed a walk-up ATM just because it's at an intersection. It's very pedestrian friendly. There's crosswalks at the intersection. People can
Okay.
access it from across the street and from the grocery store. So rather than putting a drive-through within the middle of a drive-through's ATM's a little more.
Some of us are old enough to remember when there was a drive-through photo development place, that spot. So,
Photos done there too.
right in that spot, yeah. Yeah, one of those drive-through photo development places, yeah, right on that.
So if I'm looking at this plan, you invert it. This walkway's, so if you're flipping this around, there's like a walkway in front. That's gonna push those bollards back 5 feet, you said?
About that, yeah. So right now we have the bollards on the plans you're looking at
Yeah.
the exact back of that ATM.
Yeah.
We would need to provide a turning landing if we are to
Yeah.
rotate this ATM. So if you look at this,
Yeah. Yeah.
we located the bollards at the base of the curb to provide that 5-foot
Oh,
landing.
yeah, yeah, you can
And
see
then
it there.
put it
So you got
against
enough
there,
room
so
Oh, you got an updated here.
Yeah, I have an updated one. We have the plans ready. so
Oh,
I
okay.
just wanted to.
There you go, yeah. That's what I wasn't,
Yeah.
I was getting confused.
Oh,
by
yeah.
that.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, can we make recommendations?
Yeah, we can, send it to the zoning board, they'll be free to ignore it.
The only thing I would recommend is, and coming from me, if I pulled up here, I probably wouldn't wanna park here, I'd probably be that ignorant person and park right in front over here, so I can
Okay.
get closest to the ATM.
Yeah, like a no parking
Some,
sign.
what I'm saying is some elderly people get very nervous when they go to the ATMs, having somebody park over here. I would feel more confident if you had like a no parking, you know, sign like at the front.
Yeah, just at like that corner
that's
of that
just my
ATM.
opinion. So it kinda spells it out, no parking in
Yeah.
front.
We could also add more striping if needed, just to provide like a no parking sign as well as a slow
Well, you know what they'll
slanted
do,
striping.
they'll park in the strip there.
Yeah, most
But
likely.
you'll be
okay.
surprised, a lot of people, you know.
Yeah, we can provide a no parking sign facing the parking area just to make sure that no one parks in that area in front of the ATM.
Okay. Any further questions? No? Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone
Thank
else
you.
here to speak in favor of this application?
Mr. Rock is here, but he's in support of the
Yeah,
application.
he remembers the photo booth too. Yes, he does.
No, we would just request a positive recommendation
Okay.
to a zoning and an approval
Thank
of the
you.
application
Thank
at
you.
this stage.
Okay. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in opposition to this application? And if not, I would consider a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing?
Is there a second?
Second.
Any conversation? All right, all in favor of closing the public hearing, please say aye. Aye. Aye, okay. All right, public hearing's closed. Any further discussion here among the group? I think we send a recommendation to the zoning board.
If you accept my sign,
Want to put in a sign? Okay,
I'll no parking in front.
but with a no parking sign in front, yeah, makes sense. That makes
So, Mr. Chairman, I've added that as stipulation
Okay,
4.
okay, good. All right, so any further discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion that we send a recommendation to approve to the zoning board.
I'll move that motion.
With the stipulations in the planner's report.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor? Aye. We'll see you next month or whenever. Okay, we'll see you again. We'll see you again.
So then the next step would be to just send in a zoning board application.
You go to zoning board,
And then we'll come back.
and then you have to come back for final approval from us.
Well,
Sorry about that.
there will be a decision letter, probably, what's today? Monday. Try to have that by the end of the week. I will call or email. When it's ready, you'll come in, record the decision letter, and then you should submit that decision letter along with your zoning application.
Okay,
Zoning will be, if you get it in this month, it'll be the last Wednesday of February.
Okay.
okay.
Thank
All
you very
right,
much.
thank you.
Thank
Good
you,
luck.
everybody.
Thank you. All right. And, too many pieces of paper. Okay, all right. Item 3, public comment. And, so we're not done yet. We're not done yet. There's public comment. And I want to talk about Apple Hill Drive.
Hilltop
Apple Hill?
Estates.
At Hilltop Estates, yeah. You know, huh?
Al asked, can you? They said,
No, you don't.
What's that?
No, you don't.
Can't talk about it?
On the agenda.
But it's public comment. I'm not allowed to, so what if I go turn and sit over there? Can I bring it up? I'm a taxpayer in this community, just like anyone else who would bring it up.
Recuse
During
yourself
public
from the
comment?
discussion, go out there and put it on the record that you're speaking as a member of the,
who's taking over
Public.
the chair?
and Joe Cardoza goes to have to sit his chair.
Unless,
What happens if he wants to answer his own question? Does he come back over here?
Can't. It's not- I didn't come
All
up
right.
with that crazy open meetings law.
okay, so can we put it on the agenda for the next meeting?
Yeah. You're the chairman.
Okay, all right. Can't talk about it tonight.
Yeah,
Okay.
then full discussion can be had.
Yeah, because last month, we did talk about wanting to discuss it in executive session this time,
Put it on
and your
the agenda.
suggestion was, yeah, put it on the agenda.
agenda and a full discussion can be held on it, whatever.
Al, can you have a special meeting on it? Could the chairman call a special meeting or
No, no.
Because I don't want to come back.
not? Can we have a special meeting in Florida?
That's a bias.
Yeah, all right.
Biased legal opinion.
So since we don't have any public
Executive session, is that what you're saying?
executive session, yeah, down at his place in Florida. Yeah, I'll have the executive session down at his place in Florida.
No. He's putting it on the agenda for an open meeting. And then you can say
Yeah.
whatever you want, 'cause
Yeah, okay,
once it's on the agenda for an open meeting, they'll be notified, they receive notice because it's on the agenda, and whatever you want to discuss, you can discuss.
okay, okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second that.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting's adjourned. See that, we managed to get through the entire agenda before.